Welcome to another episode of Coffee Conversation Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum, TEIF, and our tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Today's series is the Emerging CyberSec Professional, and theme is From Boardrooms to Battlefields in the Mind of a Cybersecurity Maverick. So we have today with us guest speaker Aditya Mukherjee, a distinguished global information security leader with over 16 years of experience. He has been a VP in information security and a recipient of multiple awards and a speaker. So under his strategic leadership, there have been innovative solutions. And so, friends, welcome to this special episode where we have a senior person with 16 years of experience. So Aditya, welcome to this episode. And just wanted to explain to you the format. There are 3 rounds. You must be aware about the 2 rounds, professional, personal, and there is a surprise rapid fire round. So you answer those questions wittily, funnily, and quickly. You get to win this ebook. Is Your Organization Cyber Healthy? Authored by me. I am Lion Amir Virani, your host and a legal tech evangelist. So once again, welcome Aditya to this Coffee Conversation Show episode.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, so let's begin. So Aditya, my first question in your professional journey round, what motivated you to pursue a career in cybersecurity and how was your journey till date?
All right. So, recalling my childhood, from very early on, I was introduced to computers and mobile devices as well as internet. I remember my father back in that time used to be working in a private sector bank in the computer department. So I was encouraged to use gadgets, whatever was available at home at that time. So I had an early on experience of interacting with it, and it was an exciting time because in the late 90s it was something that not everyone had a computer or internet at their home. So if you could find out something, if you could find out a trick and you could show it to your friends and family, you get a lot of brownie points. So it was I would say eventually that is what led me into the world of IT. So back in my school days, I pretty much had an idea that I was going to look for some kind of course which would help me get a job, either into cloud computing, because that was the upcoming hot topic back then, or look into storages. So those were the 2 things that I was looking at. Eventually, what happened is unintentionally, one of my very good friends pushed me into information security because he was interested in an ethical hacking course. And just for the kicks of it, I joined with him. Through the course, I realized there were a lot of things which I already knew because I was big into gaming in my childhood and trying to figure out what the key generations are to crack the CDs, because you always don't have the authenticate actual CD, so you have to crack it using a cracker. So all those things had a very good impression on me on getting things done, and that's pretty much how I decided that this is something that I want to work on. So I started my own company. For the first few years, I ran it while I was completing my college, and after that I continued it for a few more years and later on moved to the corporate. So here I am.
That's very interesting. Uh, so my next question will be, can you share a particular challenging cybersecurity incident in the corporate world you have faced and what steps did you take to overcome it?
So personally, there has been a lot of different challenges through my career, but one that definitely stands out is my interaction with WannaCry. Because firstly, I was on a personal travel while it happened. In India, when we got to know about it first for my organization was a Friday night. I remember I was coming out of a movie. I looked at my phone and there were about 100 messages, which is anytime it's not good if you have 100 messages suddenly on your work phone on Friday night. And it turned out that we had a global impact. We had to collect everyone who was available. I was one of the first responders in the organization. We had to set up a global coordination with multiple time zones, tackling whatever intelligence was incoming. Because back in the day, what used to happen is everybody used to push some kind of information out there. You had to validate if it makes sense, see if you can actually operationalize it, and then work with the different teams to get it done on the network. So the first couple of days were very cynical, to be honest, but it was something that gave me a lot of learning as to how to establish different work streams, owners, designate timeframes, make sure the updates go out to the business leaders and it makes sense for the business leader, because they are not interested in what a sinkhole is or what the particular encryption is. What they want to know is when the business is going to come back to BAU. So getting those things really left an impression for at least a few years, and also gave me nightmares at times.
Okay, that is challenging incident. There must be a, what do you say, funny incidents also happened. Came top management must be during initial years. Cybersecurity was evolving, and I'm just relating to the incident. I'm watching the serial from on Amazon Prime. This what do you say? Hacks this hacks online, where the DCP is what do you say? Not cybersecurity, a professional. He just a 3 months course, and he keeps asking questions like what do you say? A junior KG person asks. So have you faced such kind of incidents in your initial years?
There have been. So working especially with smaller organizations or organizations which have a very tight budget, they have to have people who wear multiple hats. So there are often instances where a pure IT network guy is also managing the InfoSec. And there's one instance I remember. So what happened is we had a particular organization. This is during my freelancing years. So organization which had some kind of virus, not a malware or a ransomware, a virus attack. We provided them certain steps and recommended them certain tools. However, the network guy decided to go on his own and download a full version of antivirus from torrent, which turned out to have a ransomware. So to protect themselves at a cheaper cost from a virus, they inherently encrypted their entire system. So that was a funny incident where I had to get in, inform them that you don't download torrent uh, applications directly in your system, corporate system at least. So things like those definitely happen from time to time.
Okay, so continuing, you have worked with various companies. So, what is the working with different departments, like different stakeholders? So, what strategy do you employ? Okay, everyone is in sync with the company vision of protecting their digital assets or whatever assets from being externally or internally being compromised.
So first and foremost, it's important to understand what the threat landscape of the organization is, what kind of threat actors you might be looking at, what are the compliance and regulatory requirements that you should comply with, just to make sure that you have a basic benchmark of what should be done and what should not be done. And then based on what the business goal is, because at the end of the day, any information security team is there to support the actual business. So we have to find ways to collaborate with the business and enable them to do their job better, because we have to allow them to do what they do and enable them to do it in a secure way. So having a very good relationship with the business stakeholders, translating the cyber risk into business terms so that they can understand the value and what we are doing for the organization is important. And I think just making sure you're aware of the latest threat campaigns and how it might impact you, so that you can put precautions and mitigations in place before they come across.
Wow, super. So Aditya, my next question will be, what are some key trends in cybersecurity that organization should be aware of in the next 5 years?
So there are definitely a lot of different things which are happening in the cyberspace. One is definitely the advent of the AI and machine learning. So we see AI being plugged into pretty much everything these days. However, there are some legitimate purposes for which artificial intelligence machine learning is used, basically either to automate the manual work items or to make sense of large amount of data into reasonable chunks which can be operationalized by the actual tactical and technology teams. Outside of that, I would say zero trust, cloud security, ransomware, and supply chains. Um, DevSecOps, these are some of the big trends which are definitely going to play a major role in the next 5 years.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, how do you keep yourself updated with this cybersecurity is ever evolving? So, like, we'd like to know some tips for young professionals who are entering in this field. So, what should they follow? Which so they are updated because a lot of things keep on happening.
Absolutely. So information security, if you see a lot of terminologies and the thought process that we have in this domain is taken from the defense sector or the national security guidelines. Why I say that is because be it national security or information security, having right intelligence is of paramount importance. So for anyone looking to be a good cybersecurity professional or to become a good cybersecurity professional, it's important that you have your ears to the ground. Ways through which you can do it is today there are various categorized news feeds, social media accounts, as well as podcasts, which specifically focus on the latest information security news. There are also different news bulletins from websites as newsletters, which come out on a daily basis, weekly basis, which tell you about what are the regulatory changes which are happening, what are the new vulnerabilities which are coming out, or what are the new security tools and platforms being utilized. So that gives a very good basic understanding of what's going on in the market so that you can have healthy dialogue with your teams as well as business stakeholders. The other thing that as an organization, what happens is a lot of organizations have dedicated teams, which are threat intelligence teams and threat hunting teams. So basically what they do is they utilize a lot of commercial as well as government feeds. Like we have Cert India, there's a lot of other organizations as well which provide real-time intelligence on what is happening in the world, and you can actually utilize that along with your traditional endpoint detection tools and other platforms to make sure that you're prepared against the latest ransomware attack or be it any kind of other attack.
Wow, super. Now, Aditya, if a company doesn't have a metadata management policy, so what are the consequences they will be facing?
Well, it really depends the kind of data that they are processing and how it is being utilized within the organization. If you're processing a lot of sensitive information or personal identifiable information and you're sending it out to either a unsecured location or it is being processed by third parties which are dependent on you for the data, there might be implications of a large data breach where all of that data might go out in the public or the dark web, and there might be lawsuits and regulatory fines, etc., which might come your way. So whatever information is being processed by any organization, you should always make sure that you have a good data classification process in place, and you are also collecting only what is required, because you really can't lose what you have not collected. So if you are, let's say, a payment gateway and you don't need the credit card information to be stored at your server, don't collect it unless you're utilizing it for a legitimate business purpose.
Wow. So, uh, further to this, adding to that, now this GDPR law is there. Now in India also they have come up with personal data protection law. So what steps should Indian companies take for protecting and they have the policies implemented, so they are not being compromised and are not being compliant?
So first and foremost, it's important that you have a good team or a good set of professionals in your organization who are either privacy professionals as well as legal professionals, because they are going to understand and interpret the law at the best possible scenario for the organization and how you operate. The other thing would be also make sure that whatever regulations and compliances you need to um, be in compliance with, you understand them correctly with the help of the SMEs, and your business is in line with the procedures, because in case of deviations, there are hefty fines. There's also hurt of the public sentiment, which might impact the business as well. So it's important to understand a comprehensive risk assessment for the organization, prioritize what the risks need to be factored in first, and what kind of controls you're putting in place, and also document it well enough so that in case of an audit, you can actually provide all of those evidences for your processes.
Wow, super. Thanks for that. Because every where this topic of awareness is being conducted by different law firms, cybersecurity companies, whoever's working in this domain. Now, with introduction of this, the Personal Data Protection Act being implemented in India, so a lot of things have to be put in place. Privacy professionals, legal professionals, CyberSec. So many people have to come together, work together, and create systems in place. Okay, because India is now way behind implementation in international GDPR and some other privacy laws have been implemented. India is now taking steps towards that. So a lot of work has to be done, and people like you have to play a major role in that. So coming to that, you have also contributed to post design for this EC Council. So how was the experience over there, and what got you interested in course design?
So I remember my first actual certification in information security was from EC Council back in the day. They had this certified ethical hacker, which I got as my first certification. So EC Council has been close to my heart, as well as everyone who has been in the information security from that timeline. I got an opportunity first to review and provide my feedback on some of the content for EC Council's Code Red courses, which are different video courses that they make on specific topics. And later on, I had completed the CISO, which is the certified CISO certification from EC Council. So I got the opportunity to also review and submit questions for their upcoming um, test sessions, exam sessions, where I provided my contribution. And outside of that, there had been in the past, there had been a lot of other organizations and institutes which I had worked with, both from an academic and non-academic perspective, to help them review as well as help them build their infosec programs. So it's definitely a good experience, because you always get to test your knowledge and how deep in the water you are, because when you're preparing questions for someone else or you're reviewing the content, you need to be on top of your game before you provide any feedback.
Wow. So Aditya, you have won various awards like Forbes India 50 Best Technology Leaders and various other awards. So how was the experience and interaction with the team, and how did these awards add value to your career?
It's definitely a good experience, because getting awarded, getting recognized is definitely good to have, because you get validation in the industry for what you're doing. And also in the background, there are a lot of times we are working with different non-government organizations, or at times with the government organizations where we are providing our feedback. So it helps you bolster your career as well as your profile within the industry and get that recognition. It definitely adds value to the profile as well, because you know that you're doing well because people are recognizing you for your work. And I think overall it's a good experience.
Wow. So from awards, let's come to you being a speaker to various events. So I want to know from your side, share some tips for upcoming tech speakers. What the preparation they should do, focus on, and what are the key points also to focus on?
Sure. So I think the first thing is have a sense of what your audience is, because if you're speaking to a set of college students and you're very stringent in your conversation, your form, and what you're basically imparting, more of a formal, it would not gel with them or the message will not come across. So, first, definitely know your audience. Second, be fluid about what you're translating. So there could be a lot of different questions which might come up. Your flow or train of thought might get derailed at times. So you have to be very flexible. You have to be fluid. You have to go with the flow of what the crowd is or what the presenter wants from you. And I think have a good understanding of the topics that you're talking about as well, because even when I used to take workshops in different engineering colleges and IITs, NITs, etc., there used to be certain instances where certain questions might come up, which even I might not have the answer right off the bat. So you have to be gracious in that regard, that if you don't know anything, you have to come back later and respond to it. I think overall, knowing your topic, knowing your audience, delivering in a pace which is relevant for them, and being flexible with the overall session is some things that can get you a good start.
Thank you. Thank you for the wonderful tips. Uh, Now, Aditya, I should call you Dr. Aditya, as you got an honorary doctorate, Doctor of Excellence in the field of management by Young Scientist University. I'm very curious to know about this Doctor of Excellence program and what step did you take to achieve it?
Sure. So it's a honorary degree. It's not an academic PhD. I definitely wanted to do that, and I had that as one of the things to do. But with all of the work and everything happening through life, I was unable to find my time for that. So this was an honorary degree which was awarded by the Young Scientist University. So I was approached by one of my contacts with whom I've worked in a lot of engagements, in speaking engagements, as well as at a local level with a lot of non-government organizations. So they were looking for certain people that they wanted to award based on the work that they have done in their particular domain over a span of years. So basically, in any doctorate, honorary doctorate degree, what happens is they give you a set of questions to prepare your persona, and then you provide your field of work, your proof of work, and what you have done, how you have contributed to the society at large, and your domain. And based on that, you have an interview with a set panel. And if they feel that you're worth or deemed eligible for it, they would award you the degree.
Wow, super, super. That's a good achievement. Uh, Now, my next question will be about mentorship. So, what is the role of a mentor in someone's life, and who are the mentors who contributed to your career?
Sure. So I think when you are starting off in a domain which has very few people who are working in that specific field, it's important to get a good set of people who can handhold you, give you the right set of tips to actually make it big in that career. I think I got a good opportunity with interacting a lot of folks from the industry in, I would say, early 2000s. Sorry, late 2010, I would say, because I started working and interacting with a lot of people on IRC, which if the younger crowd might not know, but IRCs were like anonymous Yahoo chat rooms that we had back in the day. So we had a lot of people, different chat rooms where they would discuss about infosec, different exploits, different vulnerabilities, etc. And even if you're not actively involving in that conversation, just being present, reading through that was a whole treasure trove. So I got to learn a lot, and there were different communities on at that time. There was MySpace, there was Facebook, there were a couple of other websites which don't exist anymore. So those were good um, places to interact with people with a similar mindset, because you might not have people within your city whom you can speak with on that domain, but over the globe you can find a lot of different people. So I think that helped me a lot personally. uh, I, during my entrepreneur years, used to invest a lot of time in giving back to the community and holding workshops, etc. However, right now I have been forced to limit myself just because of the amount of time that I can invest in. So anytime I am able to provide inputs or support any of my acquaintances or their children or any of the past students, I'm more than happy to do that.
Wow. So my last question, Aditya, what tips will you give to upcoming cybersecurity professional he should focus on? So, shoot, let's hear from you.
Sure. I would say today is a very good time to get into information security. First of all, because there's a lot of information which is available. There are dedicated free websites. There are different podcasts on the internet. There are different courses which are available on various open source websites, where you can get a lot of programs to learn about what information security is, what are the different disciplines within information security, and from there you can build your career. You really don't have to spend a lot of money to get professional certifications or programs or courses, because pretty much everything is available for free. However, there are different institutes and even colleges and universities providing degree programs as well. So that's also a good avenue to begin with. Secondly, because information security, one way or the other, has become a part of our life, even if we don't acknowledge it. For example, all of us have told our parents or our elders at some point in time that don't click on this link because it might be, looking to harvest your credentials, or it might be a fake link, or Coca-Cola is not giving you $200 million and there is no parcel from Tanzania, which has something with your name on it, which the customs will only release when you pay them this much. So these things have been different scams through which people's life have been impacted. And when we or the other, we are interacting with information security on our daily life. So I would say build a strong foundation before you get into the domain. Since there are a lot of different things you can do in InfoSec today, be it threat intelligence, be it working in a SOC, be it working in vulnerability management or compliance or infrastructure or cloud security or network security, there's so many opportunities in InfoSec that you really have to dedicate yourself to find out what your niche is and what your liking is. And then you can connect with people on LinkedIn, you can connect with people on Twitter, and you can learn a lot and build a good foundation, because that's important. And once you have that, I think there'll be plenty of jobs and plenty of opportunities for you.
Wow. Thanks for this wonderful tips you have shared for cyber students from the IT or cybersecurity field to listen to these tips shared by a 16-year-old, no, sorry, 16 years of experience and honorary Dr. Dr. Aditya Mukherjee. So now
16-year-olds, that brings a lot of good memories.
yeah. So our Coffee Conversation all about having conversation going memory down the lane and going for in planning for your future also. Okay. So now let's learn Aditya as a person. So my first question will be, Aditya, tell us about your family and your formative growing years.
So I was born and brought up in UP, and as I mentioned, because my father was in a private sector bank, so we had a lot of traveling before I was born. But afterwards, majority of my studies were either in Lucknow or I spent some time in Delhi as well for a lot of work that I was doing and for my ethical hacking courses, etc. So overall, I think as in the childhood, I was a lot more extrovert than I am now, and I was big on cricket, so I eventually did play for Lucknow Cricket Association at some point in time. But you have to be really dedicated a lot at that time to even make the cut to a Ranji level. And since we didn't have IPL and all of that at that time, so there wasn't a lot of, I would say, lucrative opportunities to get to that. So that didn't turn out. But overall, I think. I had a good childhood. Definitely had a good set of friends. Did a lot of mischiefs, and yeah, it was good.
Yeah. So going to your college life, what are the beautiful memories you have?
All right. So my college was pretty much on the outskirts of the city. So we had a lot of liberty from that standpoint that if we did not have a class, we could just get on someone's bike and go for a long ride somewhere and probably come back before the college day ends. Outside of that, because I was keen in computers, so I felt that there were few subjects which I was very good at. So so I did BCA in my graduation. So the starting few subjects on the couple of early semesters were pretty easy for me, like basics of computers, networkings, looking at the fundamentals of cloud storage, etc. So it gave me a good boost, and definitely a lot of teachers recognized me for that as well. So it was definitely a good experience to interact with a lot of people and getting formal education in the space that you have been learning a lot of things on your own. I think overall, it definitely gave me a good understanding of the overall IT and the computer architectures that we pretty much use each and every day now.
Wow. So Aditya, what do you enjoy doing in your free time to unwind from this hectic life, being uh, 24 hours connected with what do you say, technology?
Well, unfortunately, even when I'm not doing it for work, I'm doing it for fun. So even after work, I would rather be watching either some movie or some show, or at weekends, I try to carve out some time to play some kind of first person tactical shooter games over the weekends. And eventually, definitely a couple of times in the year, I like to go for a trek or travel with my family for a long haul. And yeah, that is pretty much it.
Okay. Any new creative interest you have developed recently or uh, from your childhood, which has been carried forward?
So one thing I'm trying to get back to is painting because early on in my school days, obviously we had arts and craft, and that was something that I used to do. So I'm trying to carve out some time on a weekly basis to begin painting again. I haven't been successful so far, but hope to do it before the year ends.
Okay. So one thing is painting. Anything else in your bucket list that you would like to do in 2024?
I think definitely get a lot more fitter than where I am because health is wealth.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Okay. Uh, so Aditya, what kind of music or entertainment do you usually uh, follow or yeah, reach out?
So a lot of I would say 90s and 200s English music. I also there was a phase where I got into house music and EDM and dubstep and all of these music. But right now, I think the late 90s and 20s English songs are something that I try to listen to whenever I can find the time. Outside of that, specifically with regards to shows and movies, I would always prefer to go for something of a thriller or a action or even a horror. Although post marriage, I've been very limited with my horror movies because my wife doesn't like it as much.
She, she will be scared
Yes,
with our boys watching
absolutely.
horror movies. They can't be able to survive.
So the fun thing is you watch a horror movie with your wife, and for the next 3 nights, you get to see it because she'll suddenly turn on the light and look here and there because she had a bad dream.
Yes. Okay, that's okay. That was good. Humorous side you shared. Now, how do you keep in touch with your friends from your childhood, college, from your corporate world? So many friends you have made, and how do you keep touch with them?
Frankly, I'm not very good at it in keeping in touch with my friends anymore. We do have a few WhatsApp groups where we regularly share memes and engage in short bursts of conversations or share important life updates with each other. But overall, I'm not good at continuing that consistent conversation. However, I feel lucky that I have a solid set of friends from my childhood where even if we don't speak for months together, I can just call them up one day and we can pick up the conversation exactly where we left it. So that's definitely a blessing to have.
Very true, very true. Okay. Uh, do you read books?
Not as much I would want to. I have a set of books everywhere, but I haven't been very diligent with it. But yeah, I think coming to the topic of books, one of the first books that I read when I was in my school, which turned out to be a self-help guide, was Who Moved My Cheese? And I read that because my father was reading it, and I found it and I started reading it, probably because of the mouse and the cheese on the cover. However, later on in my life, I did realize that it had some impact on my thinking because then I would always try to look for situations and look for underlying things which are not spoken or things which are not evident and try to analyze and not take things for granted because life as we know is very translusive in certain aspects. So what is today might not be tomorrow, so you need to be very fluid with how you go around life because the more rigid you are, the harder life becomes for you. uh, that's one. Bhagavad Gita is something that I'm trying to read again. However, again, time has not been on my side.
Okay. Uh, so, Aditya, how do you stay physically and mentally fit?
Short answer is I don't. But yeah, I do try to take up some sessions for yoga as well as meditation. I try to go for at least a couple of times in a week for a brisk walk, um, majorly because of our work timings and the overall schedule that we have become accustomed to. It's difficult to maintain a very you know um, thorough schedule throughout the day where you can get fitness because either if you're completing a day pretty late, the next morning becomes difficult, and then you have always these things coming in your family life where you might not be able to prioritize it. But I think yeah, yoga and meditation is something that I've been trying to carve out some time for. Brisk walks probably a couple of times a week, and whenever we are on a vacation, I would try to see if there's any trek or hiking nearby which I can do because one thing that I miss about my stay in Mumbai is that pretty much on every alternative weekend in a month, we could just go for a trek in Lonavala or towards Thane. And that used to be one of the highlights while I stayed in Mumbai. That is something that I missed while coming to a lot of different cities now.
Okay. Okay. So, my last question, Aditya, will be describe Aditya in one line.
Okay. I would say something who's looking to learn and grow each day while having fun doing it.
So now let's come to the fun round, the rapid fire. Tea or coffee?
Coffee,
So let's the toast.
absolutely.
Okay. Uh, you're a morning person or night person?
Night.
Okay. Your favorite cybersecurity tool?
That would be an exploit kit.
Okay. Uh, what's your go-to productivity hack?
Good time management. So bucketizing your day in different segments and getting a task assigned to that particular time.
Wow. Your favorite travel place?
Mountains,
Wow.
somewhere in probably Uttarakhand.
Okay. Your most admired tech leader?
I would say Kevin McNick because he was something of an idol while growing up.
Okay. And what's your hidden talent, which you have not discovered?
I can do wheelies very well. At least I used to with cycles, scooters, and bikes.
Wow, that's really okay. And your favorite color?
Red.
Oh, so you answered quickly, wittily, and so you win this ebook, which will be delivered to your place, autographed by me.
Thank you
Uh,
so much.
So, friends, it was a lovely conversation which we had with Aditya Mukherjee on different aspects of cybersecurity, on being a course content creator for cybersecurity programs, being a speaker. He is a multi-faceted personality. Do watch this episode when it's published on the Coffee Conversation Show YouTube channel. Click the bell icon, subscribe. There are over 100 plus episodes from different series with different subject experts. And we look forward to another interesting conversation with another guest speaker. So see you. Stay safe. Thank you.